When things aren't going right for your team, you scream at the television. When things are going right, you throw up a fist pump. The Win Column Sports Network puts your passion into words. Along with our affiliates Below the Ice, Duncan Duma, and Backbreaker Media, the Win Column Sports Network provides professional level coverage of semi-professional franchises, athletes, and organizations in Edmonton. Get in the Win Column with a fan's perspective on local sports with stories you can only find online at wincolumnsports.ca.
What's up, guys? This is Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Over the Top Rope on the Win Column Sports Network. Suplex!
Love, Chris Parrish, and MPW superstar Rugged Rich King.
That's me.
That is
you.
you. Welcome to the show.
Special.
Can't believe we secured a.
Mike already mentioned that part.
I can't believe we secured a special guest of the show for 2 in a row. Hello, friends. Spencer Love, your host of Over the Top Rope Live, OTTR Live with my frequent co-host.
I'm totally
Chris
gonna call you
Parrish.
Special Love for tonight only.
That's pretty mean. And as mentioned, Rugged Rich King and joining us on the program today.
For Valentine's
It's an
Day.
exciting program. It is a very, very exciting program for the fact that this is the first time ever OTTR Live will not be covering the WWE main roster. Nay. Today is for NXT Takeover Portland. Of course, an outstanding card, guys. I think every time we get together, whether it's on a show, off a show, we talk about the high quality that NXT's been putting out, not just for the last little bit, but especially since they moved to live television. I believe that this is the first card that they've had as well that features more than 5 matches. So excited to even just see the changes as far as that goes for the black and yellow brand. But guys, just overall, your thoughts heading into the Sunday Spectacular of NXT Takeover Portland.
Well, first off, I'm going to correct you. This is actually the second time they've had more than 5 matches.
Okay.
So,
when was the first?
I believe they did one at WrestleMania a couple years ago.
I know there was rumors of it. I just didn't remember if they'd done it. So thank you, Parrish.
I thought it was usually 5, but yeah, like you said, Spencer, this show is going to be jam-packed. Like, this card is amazing. I'm so looking forward to this card. Every match can steal the show.
Yeah.
And when you have something with that kind of potential, like, you know you're in for a treat.
Well, and it's a consistent theme as far as NXT goes, because I think that one thing that they've done really well as far as keeping their match cards tight, and even seeing now with 7 matches or 6 matches on tonight's card, depending on if one does get announced or not. It's always a quality match. You know, WWE and AEW even as well in its short history, there have been times where you get, not to undersell anyone, but you do get some sort of filler matches or stuff added late. You never get that with NXT, other than perhaps a match added to tonight's card. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Before we get started here, Mike will bring us into the show in a sec. Guys, what are you most excited for tonight? Your early contender for match of the night.
I'm going to go with Tommaso Ciampa and Adam Cole. I think when it comes to NXT, your main event has always delivered, and I think this show is going to be no exception. I think Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa, I believe this is the first takeover they're headlining against one another, and I think they're going to make sure that this one is one you talk about for all upcoming takeovers. I think they're going to set the bar high here, and I honestly believe the dark horse here is going to be Johnny Gargano and Finn Balor. I think that one's the one that I think everyone is curious about seeing. And I think the surprise one is, I think we want to know, is Charlotte going to make a decision, or is she going to make an impact here during the women's championship
100%,
match?
man. Rich, yourself.
Yeah, like I said, every match can steal the show. It's a stacked card. There's lots of great talents on there. Parrish kind of mentioned Gargano and Balor. That's one I'm personally looking forward to. These two guys, I've never seen them square off before. This might be the first time they've ever actually gone one-on-one. This has potential to be Balor's best match in WWE. umbrella at least. But two, I think, will kind of stand out just because they're different on the card. Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai, just because it's a street fight, right? It adds a different element in there. Even the tag match with the Broserweights and Undisputed Era, that one is probably one of the most exciting ones. I'm not a big tag team fan by any means on that side of things, but I think with the talent you have in that ring, Undisputed Era, every time they're in the ring together, Fish and O'Reilly, they're magic. And then you throw on Dunn and Riddle in that, like, again, chemistry out the yin yang for that one. I'm super excited for almost everyone on this card, but those are the three I think are going to be tops for sure.
Couldn't agree more. Now you talk about chemistry, the one match that I'm going to talk about before we hop into it. I am so excited for Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic. You talk about chemistry, and these guys have been doing it since back in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. They've done it in Battles of Los Angeles. They put out a 5-star match, I believe it was 2015 or 16, if you put any stock into Meltzer ratings. But these two, every single time that they get into the ring together, not only is it excellent, but they're bringing something new to the table. And this is really the biggest platform that they'd have outside of, like you say, Battle of Los Angeles, outside of your weekly shows on NXT. This is the biggest platform they've had to wrestle each other thus far, and I think they're going to pull out all the stops for it. But, Mike, of course, before we get into that match specifically, kick us off. Where are we starting on today's show? Well, you're a graphics guy. We got to line up with you.
I know. One thing I do have to bring up, and this is just some housekeeping that we'll have to take care of here, and this is a big plug for Beercade here tonight. Tonight it is free video games here at Beercade. The bad side is, unfortunately, due to the WWE Network and some other technical issues that way.
Legal issues. We'll see.
It's
legal issues.
It's legal.
It's not Beercade's fault. It's the law. The law is screwing you, the people. Beercade is still hosting a great day.
Beercade is not able to host the NXT special itself. However, they do have free video games here all night. So feel free to check out TakeOver, then come on down and enjoy some free video games, $4 drinks.
We said we were bringing you a live special, and we're bringing you a live special, damn it. Don't say that we don't deliver here on the WCSN.
Yeah, I think we just showed Oliver Luck why we should also be in the XFL.
This is why we.
All
right, we're
I can criticize my teammates and still get shut out too.
all
Like
right.
the producer. Where are we kicking off, my friend?
Let's start with.
I hope.
Let's start with a very hard-hitting match here with
Nicely played.
Johnny Gargano taking on Finn Balor.
Sounds great, man. And Rich, you talked about it as being a match you were most excited for. You're the guest on the show, so I'll let you kick this one off.
Man,
What are your thoughts?
I can't say enough how excited I am for this match. Gargano and Balor are two of my favorites right now out there. Gargano just always delivers every way possible. Like, amazing wrestler. Kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit with NXT over the last couple of months, especially with the injury and everything happening. But a guy you can never sleep on. He's always going to have match of the night. He always puts in a match of the night effort, I guess I should say. And Balor's a guy that has something to prove. I think a lot of people kind of overlook him nowadays. Again, kind of a guy that recently made a return to NXT. Starting to get some momentum behind him again, but kind of got lost in that shuffle too. Yeah. So I think this is a match with two motivated guys that we can see the absolute best out of them. Mm-hmm. Again, the story's been kind of start and stop just because of Gargano's injury.
Yeah.
But I think they can just tear down the roof with this one.
Completely agree, man.
I'm super excited to see what they can do. Again, NXT's great for giving guys time and giving them the freedom that they need. So I think they can pull out something pretty amazing, actually.
Completely agree, man. Who are you thinking is going to pull out the victory?
So I'm pretty split down the middle with this one. Honestly, I could see this getting prolonged with the Gargano win. But I could also see Balor taking home the win, just because, again, newer to NXT, I think this is the feud that they really wanted him with initially. So I think Balor's going to take it in the end, probably by some type of nefarious means, but Balor Balor by a hair.
Sounds good, man. Parrish, your thoughts on Gargano Balor?
Yeah, I know the main roster has King of the Ring to proclaim who's their self-righteous king on the roster. But I think this is a true matchup where we can hand out the crown of NXT, because in one corner we do have the Prince, and on the other side we actually have probably the guy who's known to be the king of NXT.
The heart and soul of NXT.
Exactly, and he could be the Robin Hood, if you will, of the NXT. So I think with this story being told, it's the first time they're facing off against each other under the WWE banner, under the NXT umbrella. And I think we're going to see probably a good 20 to 25 minute back and forth match. I'm just like Mr. King over here, and I'm putting in the pun on purpose. I think Finn Balor's going to win because I do believe we're in time going to see Tommaso Ciampa against Finn Balor for the NXT title down the road in 2020.
All fair calls, man. I'm really excited for this one. I'll get my prediction out of the way and go with a Finn Balor win because, again, I do think that he will be a guy who challenges for a championship sooner rather than later. But one thing that I've really loved about this is it's really brought out a different edge in both stars, right? Like, there are two guys who, prior to Finn's heel turn and even after, are fairly comparable guys as far as their in-ring styles, as well as, like you say, Parrish, how they endear themselves to the NXT audience. I think that doing this, you saw the promo that Gargano cut. I believe it was last week that they did the split-screen promo, and there was a fire in Gargano that hasn't been there, in my opinion, since, like you say, the Tommaso Ciampa feud. Now, that's not to say that he hasn't put great matches on, but there's nothing I love more than a babyface that's got that little bit of badassery to him. That guy who's got a little bit of fire to him, and he really showed that over the last little bit. And conversely, obviously, Balor's done that since the turn, but I think that he's really been able to emphasize not just how good he is in ring, but sort of the way that he thinks professional wrestling. You even see that the little stuff that he does differently since turning heel in the ring. I love seeing those little nuances, the little changes that people have as far as their wrestling goes. Even starting to use the 1916 as more of a finisher rather than a transition move, just because it's that much more quote-unquote brutal to look at, right? I love what he's done. I think that these two are going to put on an absolute banger. I think that Balor wins, whether it's by nefarious purposes or not. I think that this will take him into title contention.
I think we might see a couple more matches between these two. At least I hope.
I would completely
I would
agree,
love to
man.
see a
I
couple
would
more
never be
takeovers
disappointed
with these
with
guys.
it. But that'll hopefully be for our next NXT Takeover special. Mike keeps us to a tight timeline. We hired a producer because we need someone to. Mike, what is our next match, my good man?
Well, from here, let's go to the street fight between Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox.
Fun fact.
Are you okay? Because I know when we mention anything with the word Coda, you tend to get a little upset. So I just want to make sure that you know this is Dakota, not...
Parrish, you got that mixed up. It's me, not him.
This is one Coda that can wrestle that I like to see in the ring. Very, very excited for this one.
Here,
She does put herself Cap Coda on Twitter.
Fun fact.
Are the worst.
Fun fact, street fights are the only time that it is acceptable to wear jeans to the ring, in my humble opinion. I'm excited for this one. I think
as long
that
as,
this
again,
one,
we keep it tight.
I think that this one has lost a little bit of momentum. I mean, utilizing Tegan Knox in the way that they did, bringing her back in that battle royal, I thought was a bit of an odd choice. You know, there should have been a moment where she came back and got some early beatdowns and kicked the ass of Dakota Kai back. There you are. Thank you very much, Rich. This is why we invited you on the show. But there should have been a point where she got some sort of proverbial comeuppance backstage before moving on to a match like this. I don't like the fact that they did the match on NXT TV because some of that may have to do with the match. I really love both of these wrestlers as far as that match goes. Wasn't a personal favorite of mine. I thought it was a little slow, for lack of a better way to put it. Now, in my opinion, Dakota Kai's heel turn was like an all-time great heel turn almost. I think it was absolutely fantastic the way that they executed. I think that a lot of people thought that they were going to have something happen. I think a lot of that was nullified when Dakota Kai entered third, and then you immediately had the shocking moment where she came back into that cage and beat the living hell out of Tegan Knox. I think that you could have really capitalized on that either at a Worlds Collide, if that was the opportunity, or done a street fight on NXT TV, if that was the direction you wanted to go. But be that as it may, I'm psyched for this match because I think it's where it should have always ended up. These are two absolutely terrific pro wrestlers. Tegan Knox is, like I talk about Dakota Kai having an all-time great turn, I think Tegan Knox is one of the best baby faces in professional wrestling right now. She's got such a great story, especially, I hate to use injuries as a crutch, to use a real actual pun here, but I think that the way that she's sort of come back and persevered over that gets a lot of people behind her naturally, and then just the way she works in the ring.
Growth.
Exactly. So, saying all of that, I think that Dakota Kai is going to get the win here. I think as a heel, you need a statement win, especially when you can be as vicious as humanly possible. Beat the ever-loving hell out of her. I want to see Tegan Knox put up a fight, but these are the kind of matches where, to me, wins and losses don't have to matter if both people come out looking great.
100% agree with you. And you kind of bring up a couple points of the hard thing about NXT growing. is that their takeovers are so sporadic, right? There's only a couple a year.
Yeah.
Whereas WWE, there's another pay-per-view every month. So you can't have those big blow-off matches at every single takeover. I think they're trying to do something a little different with Worlds Collide, where they have NXT UK versus NXT.
Oh, and I loved it.
Which is awesome.
Great
right?
show.
So putting them onto a main roster show or like a weekly show is kind of something they have to end up with at least, right? But at least they're at this point now. Again, I think Dakota Kai had one of the best heel turns in the last couple of years. No one saw that coming, and I thought it was phenomenal. But yeah, like you said, the intensity a street fight can bring out of these two ladies, it's going to be phenomenal. Again, they're going to bring some physicality. Tegan Knox showed that, I think, what was it, last week?
Yeah, last week or the week prior.
Yeah, absolutely. So they have a little bit of intensity on that side of things. Sorry, I was thinking Dakota Kai against Candice LeRae. Yeah.
Oh my God,
that's what I was thinking about. Sorry,
my apologies.
People mixed up there, but yeah. So I like the intensity both these ladies bring to the match. I think it can be potentially the dark horse to steal the show, just because it has that unique element of being a street fight, and it brings a new little wrinkle on everything. I like
Completely
it. I
agree,
think
man.
this is where the feud goes, and I agree. I think Dakota Kai takes home the win. Freshly turned heel, I think the bad guy gets the victory in the street fight.
Make a statement. Parrish, your quick thoughts.
I am going to predict Dakota Kai with the win here. I do think it's going to be by a TKO, a knockout of some sorts, to keep that sympathy for Tegan
like
Knox
that.
going. And I'm going to kind of piggyback on your idea. I would have actually had put Dakota Kai in the position to challenge Rhea Ripley for the title, and then have Tegan Knox come back tonight to cost her that, and really emphasize that emotion, and that if you took this away from me, I'm taking that away from you kind of mentality.
Yeah,
and
make
that
a moment of it.
Yeah, because I agree with you with thinking all this has been wasted just on free TV. However, with that being said, because it's been on TV, everybody has seen the growth of these performers. They have seen the growth of their story, and they have also been able to travel along that road with them. And this is a culmination of that story so far. And because of that, it's kind of like the fruits of their labor, kind of to speak. And I think because we all know in this business, it's all about opportunity, and it's all about
Well, Parrish, it's all about the game and how you play it.
But you got to seize those opportunities when you have it. I'm not selling you because it's my time. Yeah. But no, but we all know that you have very limited amount of opportunities to make your moment and make your stamp on a project, on anything. And I think this is the stamp that both these ladies have to show everyone why they always belong on takeovers moving forward. But with that being said, I am going to take Dakota Kai with the victory of it being brutal, and it's going to be, I'm going to knock you out to the point where the referee has to stop.
Mama said knock you out. Mike.
Well, I got a dumb question. Why is there even a doubt that Dakota Kai is going to win here? You know Coda never loses. But moving on.
I'm also going to say I have a small crush on Tegan Knox. She is a beauty.
Fair enough. Mike, take us to one more match. I believe we've got the intermission after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell my wife.
In the battle of the big men here for NXT Takeover for the U.S. for the North America Championship, we got Keith Lee taking on Donovan Divakovic.
Keith Lee. Whoop, whoop. Oh, what a stud, dude. And you know, this has been an outstanding 3 or 4 months since Survivor Series for him. But man, what a wrestler he has been since moving over to NXT. I think this guy is actually one of the best in the business as far as it goes. Whether you look at his last few months or not, I mean, if you combine that guy's size and his athleticism, realistically, there are a few guys. You look at guys like a Drew McIntyre, a Brock Lesnar, your real hosses. There are a few who can measure up to them, and Keith Lee is truly one of those guys, in my opinion. Now, Dijakovic maybe doesn't get the same notoriety, or maybe hasn't gotten that same opportunity quite yet as far as WWE goes, but I think the same can be said of him. There are very few 6'8" individuals that'll fucking moonsault. Am I right? This guy will use it consistently. He will hit it every single time. And like I said when we were talking about it a little off the bat, their chemistry is unbelievable. These guys have matched up everywhere. They have matched up in any match stipulation that you can possibly think of, and they've delivered every single time. Now, when you get a stage this big, I think that a lot of professional wrestlers, and I am speaking in a general sense here, but a lot of professional wrestlers pride themselves on performing on the biggest platform possible. It's why WrestleMania, you pull out all the stops. Now, maybe this isn't WrestleMania, but it is certainly the biggest opportunity that these two have had so far to show off what they can do. They've got the best possible opponent that they can have. Now, show it to the world. It's the first Sunday NXT Takeover.
It's their last big show before WrestleMania weekend.
Exactly, man. I think that you can really go out and make a statement. I think that they will, but there's no reason to take that championship off of Keith Lee right now. Lee delivers in what I am going to say is an instant classic.
Yeah, these two guys, they've been at it for months, like you said, Spencer. I think it was even before Survivor Series that they had a couple matches and a little bit of feud, and then they started to partner together. But these two big guys, there's nothing these guys can't do. Dijakovic, I feel, gets overlooked a lot because of Keith Lee and what Keith Lee can do. We've seen what he can do at Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, how much the crowd is invested into him. Some of the feats this guy can do are amazing. I wouldn't do a moonsault yet.
You see
he's
Brock
doing them,
Lesnar reacting to him like, oh, big boy.
yeah,
like you're
big
doing off
boy.
the bat.
Puts him over right away, right? So, again, Dijakovic, I think, is a stud. Keith Lee is going to be probably the next big thing in WWE, bringing up Brock Lesnar.
Nicely done. We're going like on a pun a match. I like this.
At least one, man. At least one. There's three of us. We can at least do that, right? But like you said, these guys have all the makings for an instant classic. They have the chemistry from past matches. Now they have the North American Championship on the line, so there's a little bit more at stake. You can probably going to see a little bit more intensity between the two guys. I know I'm super excited for it. It's going to be a hard-hitting match, but yeah, Keith Lee just won that sucker. I'd be super surprised if they take it off him before WrestleMania. You can see what they're doing with this guy. So I think Keith Lee ends up with a big W here, and we bask in his glory by the end of the night.
As we should. Perish. It is your turn.
I am absolutely amazed that you can call somebody who's a double D overlooked. With that being said,
Rude.
I was watching an interview not too long ago with Paul Heyman explaining why Brock Lesnar was the perfect guy, or sorry, why Goldberg was the perfect guy to squash Brock Lesnar the way he did. Because can you imagine guys beating Brock Lesnar in that amount of time? You were at that match live. There's not a lot of guys under the banner. But when we saw the Royal Rumble and that face-off between Keith Lee and Brock Lesnar, you got instant credibility behind Keith Lee as saying, I believe this guy can beat Brock Lesnar in 86 seconds.
Yep.
And I believe Keith Lee has opened up the door for a Dominic Dijakovic in this opportunity, in the sense of you'd say that he's overlooked because of Keith Lee. I think he is, but I think that's because he is the number 2 to Keith Lee's number 1. But once Keith Lee makes that transition onto the main roster, Dominic
Dijakovic.
Double
It's
D.
the only time that they've ever
He might
made a
just
guy's
end up
name
being
longer.
Dominic
Hold
by
on,
the
hold
end
on.
of it, you know?
He was Dominic Dijak
The way
before he moved to
they cut
WWE.
last names now.
They made his
Dijakovic?
longer. It was Dijak before he moved to WWE. And they made it Dijakovic.
He's back on track.
Anyway, I
Here
believe
goes our filler.
I am going to say we're going to see a great match between these two. I wouldn't be surprised. We mentioned surprising heel turns. I wouldn't be surprised in two ways. One, we see that surprising heel turn after a disappointing clean loss by Double D, to where he's like, all right, I just can't beat you, and the only way, like, I got to do something else. I got to change my ways or something like that. Or we see after a win, we see Punishment Martinez get involved. I believe now we're finally going to start seeing the North American title be used as that secondary title the way it should be. And I think Keith Lee's that perfect guy. And I think we're going to see a title on him for a long time. And mark my words, I think Keith Lee is going to be the first guy to, on a regular appearance, bring the North American title on the main roster.
Now you brought up kind of a cool point there with the debate, Punishment Martinez debuting. What about Killer Cross? Recent signee.
Yep, made a
He's
big
been
deal
chased
of it.
after a lot. They've been, pumping that tire a little bit more.
If there is going to be a match that
There might
features
be.
interference, I do believe that this one could be it. Before we go to intermission, real quick, just want to touch on there could be a potential 7th match added to the card. Roderick Strong versus Velveteen Dream has been rumored. However, as of this point, nothing official announced. However, I would have to think that should it happen, Velveteen Dream picks up the win in a return match. Your guys' quick thoughts before we head to the break on OTTR Live?
Quick thoughts, but anybody else feel like the Dream's the heel in this or what?
I love the Dream. The Dream is the man.
Feels like the heel. I'm saying.
I'm gonna agree with you with the Dream getting the win. I'm against that because I really do believe at this angle right now, Roderick Strong back-to-back losses and kind of bigger matches is not good for him moving forward.
But it could play into a bit of a breakup angle, if you want to call it that, with the Undisputed Era, because they have been teasing that tension over the last little bit.
Could be a great way of bringing Marina into the Undisputed Era.
All right.
I would say
All
Dream
good calls.
takes up the win just because he's returning. That's usually how it goes. Roddy needs to look strong, though, without the pun on the last name. But yeah.
Sounds good. We're going to take a quick break here on OTTR
It's a
Live.
sabbatical.
I'm going to toss it to Mike the
we
Ref
need
before
beer.
we close it out here.
Before,
Stay tuned after the
before we
break.
close it out, we actually have people saying comments in the chat room here.
Oh, let's answer
Oh,
the
no.
fan question before we close out here.
If it's Coda, you're still not booked.
I wouldn't even answer a comment from Coda.
We
You know
need a
that.
guest next show.
Anyway, first of all,
I got a suck puppet.
Hey,
there's a big fist pump here for Rugged Rich King from the judge, Ben Oman.
Yeah.
Okay, he'll never be on the show now because of that.
hey, the judge is on next show.
Where's that referee?
Exploratory comment.
And the other one, unfortunately, we got our confusing comment from Andres for the night.
Of course.
Andres, in regards to the Tegan Knox Dakota Kai match, to be fair, everybody has a major crush on Tegan Knox, more so now that she's turned heel. Well, she hasn't turned heel, but
Heel's a matter of perspective sometimes, you know?
Don't
Some
worry, I have a
people-
crush on Tegan Knox. If she turns around, I will fall in love.
on that note, I want to give a quick message before we go to break. Our next broadcast of OTTR Live from Beercade is going to be March 8th for the Elimination Chamber. It's going to be Spencer, Parrish.
It's right by my birthday. Come out for that one.
I might be available if you guys need somebody.
Okay. We'll keep it in mind.
And
We'll
from,
negotiate over the break.
and from
You're in.
But the show will be shown on all the TVs at Beercade, so it's definitely going to be worth checking out. So
It's either that or baseball.
Last
No
stop before
offense.
WrestleMania, baby.
100% and one of the all-time great stipulation matches created by the WWE. We'll be back in about 5 minutes or however long it takes me to finish up my game of skee ball.
If we're not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer.
Stick around on
we'll be right-
OTTR
we'll be right-
Live from Beercade YEG.
When things aren't going right for your team, you scream at the television. When things are going right, you throw up a fist pump. The Win Column Sports Network puts your passion into words. Along with our affiliates Below the Ice, Duncan Duma, and Backbreaker Media, the Win Column Sports Network provides professional level coverage of semi-professional franchises, athletes, and organizations in Edmonton. Get in the Win Column with a fan's perspective on local sports with stories you can only find online at wincolumnsports.ca.
From Lanny McDonald to Daryl Sutter, Mark Messier to Cale McCarr. Before you're a star, you've got to make it in the AJHL. On Saturday mornings, TSN 1260 takes an in-depth look inside the Alberta Junior Hockey League. Join Tyler Yaremchuk from 9 to 10 a.m. for previews, reviews, and interviews from around the AJ. Inside the AJHL, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. Only on Edmonton's sports leader, TSN 1260.
Hello friends, this is Spencer Love, the host of Conversations with Love, the exclusive one-on-one interview series sweeping the nation, or at the very least, the great province of Alberta, Canada. Tune in weekly to Backbreaker Media, a proud member of the Win Column Sports Network, as I host a member of the independent wrestling community here in Alberta, or wherever the hell I feel like interviewing somebody from. You can only find it on Backbreaker Media, a proud member of the Win Column Sports Network and proudly sponsored by Beercade, YEG.
Are you looking for the newest and hottest in the world of pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 6,000 hours of the best events from over 150 of your favorite promotions from 20 different countries around the globe. Brands like Progress Wrestling, Evolve Wrestling, Combat Zone, Defy, PCW Ultra, PWX, Over the Top, Shine, and hundreds of others with fresh content added every day for only $5.99 per month. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
When things aren't going right for your team, you scream at the television. When things are going right, you throw up a fist pump. The Win Column Sports Network puts your passion into words. Along with our affiliates Below the Ice, Duncan Duma, and Backbreaker Media, the Win Column Sports Network provides professional level coverage of semi-professional franchises, athletes, and organizations in Edmonton. Get in the Win Column with a fan's perspective on local sports with stories you can only find online at wincolumnsports.ca.
McDonald to Daryl Sutter, Mark Messier to Cale Makar. Before you're a star, you've got to make it in the AJHL. On Saturday mornings, TSN 1260 takes an in-depth look inside the Alberta Junior Hockey League. Join Tyler Yaremchuk from 9 to 10 a.m. for previews, reviews, and interviews from around the AJ. Inside the AJHL, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. only on Edmonton's sports leader, TSN 1260.
Hello friends, this is Spencer Love, the host of Conversations with Love, the exclusive one-on-one interview series sweeping the nation, or at the very least, the great province of Alberta, Canada. Tune in weekly to Backbreaker Media, a proud member of the Win Column Sports Network, as I host a member of the independent wrestling community here in Alberta, or wherever the hell I feel like interviewing somebody from. You can only find it on Backbreaker Media, a proud member of the Win Column Sports Network and proudly sponsored by Beercade, YEG.
Are you looking for the newest and hottest in the world of pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 6,000 hours of the best events from over 150 of your favorite promotions from 20 different countries around the globe. Brands like Progress Wrestling, Evolve Wrestling, Combat Zone, Defy, PCW Ultra, PWX, Over the Top, Shine, and hundreds of others with fresh content added every day for only $5.99 per month. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
All right, folks, we are back with OTTR Live.
Come on, guys, we're back.
He's
back. I'm back. Be better than ever.
Before we get to the second half of the show, guys, let's talk about Beercade here once again.
Yeah. Let's talk about Beercade. Well, everything is needing to be said is said in the name, really. Beer, of course, from the Latin word for an alcoholic beverage created using yeast, water, hops, and barley. And cade coming from, of course, the Arabic word arcade, which means a house of games. Now, Beercade founded in 1905, of course, the month of Confederation.
Let's talk about the thing.
And here, I thought this was just a thing named after Lance Cade got stung.
No, of course, Beercade, the home of Edmonton independent professional wrestling and professional wrestling overall, as we say pretty well every time we do the show, or anytime you listen to one of the fine podcasts on the WCSN They've got $4 drinks, $4 menu items, and each and every WWE pay-per-view. Not only that, but guys like Rugged Rich King, Chris Parrish,
yardies.
a ton of members of the
Who
independent
knows
wrestling.
what our yardie is? Please educate our masses.
A ton of members of the indie wrestling community here in Edmonton, Alberta. If you've got the opportunity to come down, please do so. If you don't have the opportunity to come down, well, then you are tuned into the only pre-show that matters. Over the Top Rope Live, myself, Chris Parrish, Rugged Rich King, and of course, Mike, the producer, who will be taking the microphone next, introducing the next match.
Question for you.
What?
Instead of a pre-show, can we be the beer show?
It doesn't really rhyme enough. You can't really slant rhyme that one enough.
It does if you drink enough.
Well, fair enough, but that's what the $4 beers are for. That's going to be for after the
And
show.
you can only
Mike,
get that tonight at Beercade on the Barnacle Experience.
Of
And on
course.
Sundays.
Well, yeah, and free video games as well, but we're going to play a ton of those after the show. It's what we were doing at the intermission, and we're going to introduce our next match right now. Producer Mike, lay it on us.
For the NXT Women's Championship, and I re-emphasize the word women's because they're actually still using the word women's.
Thank God.
Rhea Ripley
Women
defends
matter.
against Bianca Belair.
I am super excited for this one, and admittedly, I think both of you guys will agree with me on this one. It's a bit of a foregone conclusion, in my opinion, for this. I don't think that Bianca Belair is going to win. Otherwise, they would have made her a much more prominent part of that inaugural appearance from Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw. But I think that Bianca Belair truly has been the biggest star of this entire feud thus far. I think you even think of that clip that they had a couple weeks ago where Charlotte first appeared on Wednesday night NXT. And it was incredible. Even just seeing Bianca Belair's reactions in the background during that full 45 seconds, minutes clip. She was outstanding. She has always been someone who has known how to play her role in pro wrestling very, very well. It's why I think that she has done as well as she has, even when she was newer to pro wrestling and was a bit greener in the ring, admittedly. Now, she is a great professional wrestler, in my opinion. I think that she's done a great job in the build to this. And I think that this is going to be, again, Rich, like we talk about pretty well every match on the card. This one could probably steal the show as far as I'm concerned. Parrish, we'll move to you next because I've been going to Rich all the time because honestly, you talk the longest, so we let you close things out.
Oh, I talk the longest. Oh, I guess the kettle is white now, isn't it? But I'm gonna say one thing. Bianca Belair to me is the Carmella of SmackDown. She's just smart enough not to dig her grave. With that being said,
You're never getting hired by the Fed, you know.
Oh, believe me, I've figured that one out a long time ago. TNA. But
Impact now.
hey, I'm like one of the 38%, right?
Top 30.
No, you're right. It's going to be, I think we all know, it's going to be Charlotte against Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania for the NXT title. And I do believe that this is one of those matches. They have everybody looking past it. And this is one where they could just shine out the most out of it. They have the biggest opportunity to be the best match, to be the most holy, I didn't see that coming, kind of a match and kind of a reaction. So I really hope for their benefit that that's the mentality they take, and they're taking this as an opportunity to show the world why they're two women that should also main event at WrestleMania, not just any members of the Four Horsewomen and a Ronda Rousey. And with that being said, Rhea Ripley with the Riptide, Charlotte Flair makes her decision tonight. Rich?
You guys ready for this?
I'm very ready for this.
I'm calling upset of the night.
You are.
I think Bianca Belair could win this.
Okay.
I 100% could see it. See, Bianca had an amazing performance in the Royal Rumble. She's an amazing character. She has awesome personality. She has the NXT universe behind her as well, right?
Yeah, I hate using the phrase, but like the X factor.
So I could see this as a huge, huge upset, and I'm actually going to go a little bit more Bianca Belair versus Charlotte. Might actually be a bigger match in the long run for WrestleMania than Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I do believe that Rhea Ripley is better in the ring right now, but I think that Charlotte Flair, working with these NXT girls, if it happens, of course, when it happens, she can elevate these girls. She can elevate Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair has taken every challenge and moved beyond that, and I'm not a Bianca fan at all. I don't like her character. I don't like a lot of what she does in ring, but I can also tell people do enjoy it. People are behind it.
Yep.
So I could actually see Bianca Belair coming out on top of this. I love Rhea Ripley. She's had a lot of Charlotte Flair comparisons, even since the Mae Young Classic when she first debuted for WWE.
You just hate everybody who showcases off their hair?
Actually, I'm a huge fan of Rhea Ripley. I hope she wins, and I hope we see that match.
Yeah.
I've come around to it a lot more. But honestly, I think Bianca could be that big swerve that we look at heading into WrestleMania season. Because if we can predict everything, it wouldn't be wrestling.
Fair enough, man. Now, as we always
Can I jump
encourage-
in? Can I jump in?
Oh, producer Mike always has to hop in.
Please, can I jump in?
We're the
Sure, on this match, go right ahead.
What could be the possibility this could be the first ever match that gets thrown out of NXT takeovers and have a no contest with Charlotte Flair interfering, setting up a triple threat for WrestleMania?
I could see it.
I could
100%
see it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that this year is going to be a year, and I think this is WrestleMania overall, where you do see a lot of singles matchups. And I know that, I'm saying this without a lot of stuff in front of me. I may be a little off my rocker on this, but WrestleMania over the last few years has had a bit of a stigma of, get everybody on the card. Let's throw as many multi-person matches on there as possible. And I think that whether it's a Heyman and Pritchard thing, whether it's a corporate direction thing, I really don't know. But I've just got a gut feeling that, you'll maybe get your typical triple threat or four corners matchup, but I don't think you're going to see a ton out of the way of singles matches. And I think that this is going to be it. I think that a lot of the women's matches, it's a criticism of a lot of things in WWE, but I think that a lot of the women's matches over the last few years have fallen victim to let's just get as many of the name value people on the card as we can. And I think that when you've got the opportunity basically handed to you through the work that these women have done, whether it's Sasha and Bayley, which I'm sort of thinking is going to be the SmackDown Women's Championship, or you look at Shayna and Becky, or you look at the potential, whether it is Rhea Ripley and Charlotte or Bianca and Charlotte, I think you've got a great opportunity to tell a lot of individual stories. And really, those for me are where a lot of the greatest moments are made. And I know that there's exceptions. I know that you can look a lot of great triple threat matchups or great matchups like that do build a great story. But I think that your one-on-one matchups at WrestleMania do really mean the most in the long run of things. And that's just a personal opinion. I know I'm going to get shit on by, the both of you.
My answer is that kettle is totally white.
I'm excited, man. Now, of course, if you guys disagree with any of us, feel free to leave your thoughts on the comment. We love engaging with you guys, even if it is like guys like Andre who text and message me. Dude, it's okay.
He did apologize
A
about the mistake.
babyface is a good guy. A heel is the bad guy.
If it wasn't for accidents, dude, I wouldn't be alive. Mistakes happen. Don't worry about it. But if you want to leave your thoughts, if you want to disagree with anything or agree with any of us, or just shout out how handsome Rich looks today, feel free to leave your thoughts on the comments. Mike, let's get to our semi-main event of Over the Top Rope Live.
Just really quickly, I would agree with Mike. I could see it being thrown out and being turned into triple threat. If there's one match in WrestleMania as a triple threat, I think this would be a good one.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate somebody with intelligence on the panel.
I would want to see that.
I would want to see it. I don't think it's the direction they're going to go. But either way, Mike.
Let's move on to our semi-main event in our eyes here. Well, in my eyes. For the NXT Tag Team Championships, the Broserweights have made it to Portland.
Somehow, some way.
Some way.
Well, they clearly took Triple H's jet, which was awesome.
They're gonna be taking on
underneath Triple H the entire way.
I mean, aren't we all?
I thought that's how you got a promotion in WWE.
Taking on. They're taking on the Undisputed Era.
Rick Jules, let us know.
Kyle O'Reilly.
No, that's a.
Go ahead, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly. Go, just go.
Okay, well, before we get
getting
completely off the rails here, this match for me is probably the biggest battle between my head and my heart, because I think that the direction for this could be, proverbially, I think that you're going to start to see the Undisputed Era lose off their gold until eventually, no matter when it happens, but Cole will lose the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver Tampa Bay, or wherever Mania is this year.
NXT TakeOver Tampa. So, yeah.
Whatever it's called. But I think Cole loses it there. Now, prior, I think that the Undisputed Era are going to lose, but prior to this whole Dusty Rhodes Classic playing out, I figured that the Undisputed Era would continue to carry everything but Roddy's gold until Tampa. Now, this is one of the situations where I think that a team has just gotten so damn over. They're so damn entertaining that maybe you change plans, maybe you accelerate plans. Maybe this has been the plan. But Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne have been such a great tag team together. They are such a great example of why sometimes I think that tag teams that are sort of thrown together can work out well. I think that a lot of times, especially in the Dusty Rhodes Classic, that is played out. But I love the work that Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne have put into this. I love the yin and yang. I've loved both of them individually for a long time. Now that they came together, it's like when Led Zeppelin came together, Jimmy Page said there was a magic fifth element. Between the four of us, I think there is a third element that has come out of Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle. The Broserweights are fantastic. I think that you may as well ride on something that's popular. NXT's already proven they're willing to do that with Keith Lee. They've got another golden opportunity to do so right now. I'm calling the Broserweights for the NXT Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there, Spencer. The Broserweights have such momentum behind them. Something that NXT really lacks on a week-to-week basis is sometimes that goofiness, sometimes that entertainment, you know. Undisputed Era sometimes supplies that, but a lot of times with NXT, the big thing is that they have so many great matches on the show that they just kind of blend together, and it almost feels like it's just kind of another show. And that's nothing against the wrestlers. It's not that they're not entertaining matches.
It's a good problem to have, but it can be a problem.
Adding that entertainment with a team like the Broserweights adds a new element to NXT that makes you have to watch that. Their stuff last week about getting to Portland was amazing.
Yeah.
Some of the best little vignettes you've ever seen. And again, I hope they can keep that up. Again, there's probably going to be the big split down the road, but for the time being, I think you ride that momentum. And I think this could be starting to kind of, might be unpopular, but starting to break up the Undisputed Era in a way, right?
Yep.
Start to have kind of the tag team go their own separate way with Fish and O'Reilly. Have Cole kind of go on his own. Have Strong do his own thing. And start to have them kind of separate a little bit, because I think they've kind of done everything they can, especially with the NXT roster. So you might start seeing them branch off and go other directions, whether that's together or separate. But I think the Broserweights take it. As much as I want to see Undisputed just kind of hold those titles, because I think they are one of the best tag teams in the world right now.
Yep.
Hands down, like in the world, they have some
no
of the best
matter
matches
which member
out
you
there.
throw in it, too, which is pretty cool to say.
What's that?
No matter which member you throw in it, like any of those guys could tag with any of those guys.
Yeah, they just
and
have
they're incredible.
They have such chemistry, and that goes back to the independent scene too, right? These guys have worked each other forever. I mean, Roderick Strong back in the day dick chopped Adam Cole in a match, where Adam Cole was telling him to suck his dick. Mike rolls his eyes.
And you guys are worried about what I'm going to say on here.
So I'm going to wrap up with saying, Broserweights complete the championship
invite him
run.
on. Whoops.
And pass it over to Parrish.
Well, I mean, okay, Rich, I'm going to ask you a question. Today's
what?
also the day of the NBA All-Star Game, is it not?
It is.
Yesterday wasn't it?
No, it was
No,
just
no,
today.
it was competition.
And
There we are, my
we're in NXT Portland, correct?
Yep.
Portland
So
Trail.
isn't it ironic we talk about the trail that is most blazed that are Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle?
You're stretching there, Parrish.
Hey,
We'll
no,
take
you
it.
tried
That's
real
an
hard,
acceptable
but-
answer, but if this was Family Feud, that'd be like answer number 6 or
Well, this
7.
ain't Family Feud. It's over the top rope,
be number,
and
like-
you're eliminated.
Portland Trailblazing. I get it, man. I like
Right.
it. I can get behind that.
And because of that, I think right now they are too hot to go against the great. I think they are the team right now that everyone, when it comes to tag team and NXT, they're the team to watch. Whether it's segments, whether it's in the ring, right now they're the tag team you're talking about. And because of that, this is the right time. As Dusty Classic champions, I believe the Broserweights are going to win the NXT tag titles tonight. And I don't agree with the fact we're going to see Undisputed Era being dissolved. I think we're going to see them promoted post-WrestleMania.
Okay.
And I believe that this is the setting of taking all the titles off NXT. And I wouldn't be surprised if NXT Tampa Bay, whatever that is called, we're seeing no champions in the Undisputed Era.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I do think, and Mike, as always, we'll let you we'll let you introduce the next match, but I know moving on to the next match, I will continue to build off of that. Mike, it's our main event. It's what's the assumed main event of NXT Takeover Portland. Give it to us, my friend.
For the NXT Men's Championship, we have Tommaso Ciampa, who never actually lost the championship, had to forfeit it due to injury, taking on the current champion, Adam Cole.
Baby!
Someone was doing it. It had to be you.
Pointed to me, damn it!
Well, I
I'm
knew it was coming.
excited as all hell for this match.
This is Mike Goldie, by the way.
I cannot back off my earlier prediction and think that Adam Cole is not going to carry the NXT Championship into NXT Takeover Tampa. I think that he's done potentially the best job of any NXT champion in carrying the title, and that comes with a lot. That comes with some incredible title reigns, whether you look at Finn Balor, whether you look at Gargano's admittedly short but still great reign, Even look at Andrade Cien Almas. Like, there have been some incredible NXT champions, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, but I think that Adam Cole, to me, has been the apex.
Drew McIntyre, we can't forget about him.
Absolutely, man.
Who Adam Cole made his debut against.
I think that he has done such an incredible job of making that champion, not making an irrelevant championship. Exactly. That's the best way to put it, man. It's like he's taken an A to an A+.
He's made a stamp on the NXT title, which is very important for all champions.
Even stuff like during his feud with Johnny Gargano, flying out to Philly for Gargano's pizza place and hanging up a photo of himself. Amazing. All of the little stuff that he's done, I think that it's been just a tremendous championship reign. I think that, it's a weird way to put it, but someone who's carried a championship that prominently deserves to lose it on the biggest stage of all, because I think that moving on to that, you can, whether you're a champion or not, continue to build, especially coming out of your biggest show of the year. Like you say, Parrish, if he loses a championship at TakeOver Tampa and debuts on the Monday Night Raw after, it still was a win of a weekend.
Well, I mean, I just think about the idea of him losing it tonight with the rematch at TakeOver Mania, losing it then. He has nothing else to prove, and he's there on Raw. It's a great memento.
No, TakeOver NXT has never really enforced the necessary rematch, like even McIntyre. And I know that it's a different situation with an injury, but he came up without rematching or having a rematch to
look no further than right now with Tommaso Ciampa.
Yep.
They've really moved away from having the automatic rematch clause for anything, which I like.
I completely agree.
I don't think you always have to have that rematch, but I think it's almost something you need to have.
I do think Tommaso Ciampa is the guy to take the title off of Adam Cole eventually. I think that Adam Cole is going to win, whether it is through the Undisputed Era, trying to keep hold of some of their gold or whatever the situation may be. I think that they are going to interfere. I think that there's going to be some sort of stipulation matchup set up for NXT Tampa. But I think that you're going to see Adam Cole still leaving, whether he wins dirty, whether Ciampa wins by DQ, or Adam Cole just wins clean. I think that Adam Cole's going to leave tonight still your NXT champion.
Before I let you go, I'm just going to say in the words of a broken one, what you just said, contradicted yourself by saying they don't really do it, but they need it.
Well, what I mean by that is not every story needs it. So, for example, when somebody, let's say Shinsuke Nakamura loses the Intercontinental Championship to Braun Strowman. I don't think they need to have an automatic rematch clause for that. But when it's a big story like, an Adam Cole who's held it for all these months, when it comes to even a Brock Lesnar, right? These guys, the story just means a lot more when you have that rematch. So that's kind of what I mean, that they don't necessarily need to have it, but for some matches they do. It just needs to make sense for the story.
I think Adam Cole is that personality and an ego that when he loses it, he's going to demand it 100%. I think that is going to be, and that's what I love about a guy like Adam Cole being a champion, is that when he holds it, and if he does lose it, he's treating it like the most important thing. Another reason why I'm also loving Tommaso Ciampa, because Goldie to him is the most precious thing outside of his family in the realm of wrestling, which is amazingly done when it comes to separation with Tommaso Ciampa.
Yep.
And
now, I do think in saying that, the thing that we can't discount here is a rematch can happen on live television now, which not to
100%.
discount the WWE Network, but getting that rematch on live TV.
USA Network,
USA
right?
now.
Exactly, where you can get television rights, where you do get it out to a wider audience than just your quote unquote smart marks, your hardcore wrestling fans. I think there's great value in doing something like that. So perhaps you see something like Tommaso Ciampa. I'm fantasy booking here, but Adam Cole loses the title at NXT Tampa, makes his debut on Monday Night Raw, or maybe he holds out, debuts on SmackDown, and still gets that rematch on the Wednesday night on live television. But there is a way to do sort of the best of every world that all of us are talking about. But I think that, in my opinion, the smartest decision to do with this is, if you want to have Tommaso Ciampa go over as big as possible, do it at the biggest show of the year. And like I said, I think that you are in that situation, doing a bit right by Adam Cole, having him go out on his back in the best way possible.
So with that being said, Special Love, what is your prediction for this match? I did say I was going to call you that. I got to do it at least once to be an honest man.
I'm going with Tommaso Ciampa wins via disqualification of some sort. There's going to be a dirty win. Adam Cole still leaves as your champion.
Get out of my mind.
Parrish, your thoughts real quick, and then we'll move on. Rich, Rich, after you give your prediction, last part of the show is always the plug where and when people can see you next as a Monster Pro Wrestling superstar. Just move right into where people can see you, where people can find you online, and keep up with yourself, because they definitely should do so.
Can I throw in a question before we start?
No, goddamn, Mike.
Rich,
Yes, sir.
You talked about how you're not worried about rematch clauses. What about your rematch clause for the tag team championships?
I've moved on to other things at this point.
He also doesn't work on the WWE banner.
Forgive and forget sometimes. We tried our best. It was a gauntlet match, so.
Well, I saw Rick Jules was watching momentarily.
Oh, are you? Okay.
So I thought maybe you'd
See,
shoot on him.
I totally brought him in.
I don't know. Me and Lumberjack Luke, we looked pretty good on the last show.
Big Lumberjack Luke fan myself.
Yeah, R.I.P. Lumberjack
I'm more
Luke,
of a Butch
probably
guy.
Frozen in the ditch somewhere in northern Manitoba.
Well, I mean, it is true, because you're Butch, he's Luke. So,
Anyway, let's get back.
I'm not going to make any bushwhacker jokes, I swear. But with that being said, I'm also going to take Tommaso Ciampa. I think he's going to beat up Adam Cole to the point where he doesn't win the title, he gets disqualified, but he makes it known that Adam Cole is his BITCH. And that he's going to make no stops to getting it back. So we do see a match where it's, maybe it's an unsanctioned match. Maybe it's a gimmick match of some sort for TakeOver Tampa. But I do believe the end story here is Tommaso Ciampa winning. I'm not going to be surprised if he wins it tonight. But I do think Tommaso Ciampa is on the road to a title victory. I'm going to go with you and say by disqualification, but it's DQ because he implemented the DQ.
Okay.
Not because the DQ was forced on him.
Alrighty. Rugged Rich, up to you for the final word on this week's OTTR Live.
For sure. So you guys bring up a lot of good points there, but WrestleMania is about 6 to 7 weeks away, right? There's a lot of TV time between then. I think Adam Cole, he's about 40-ish days away from becoming the longest reigning NXT champion, I think.
32, actually.
There. Okay, even better. So
I looked it up.
I think WWE continues that trend. They keep it on Cole. I think we see a lot of Undisputed Era interference here. And I feel like the story moving forward is going to be Ciampa has to go through the UE to get to Cole for WrestleMania weekend, where he gets his big celebratory win. Again, Undisputed starts to go their separate ways that way. But that's my fantasy booking. This is going to be a great match regardless. So these two guys are amazing in the ring. Adam Cole, I would probably say, is one of my favorite guys watching right now.
Yep.
I would probably say he's probably up there, if not the best in the world, probably top 5 in the world in terms of in-ring talent on this side of things for sure.
Sounds good, man.
I'm just going to say fantasy booking-wise, what happens if we see a fatal 4-way match at NXT Tampa Bay between Gargano, Balor, Ciampa, and Cole for that championship? Because if Cole is going after the longest streak, how ironic would it be? Unless maybe see a match between Cole and Balor at some point. Because I say with Balor being back, you almost have to do it if that opportunity arises.
I think that's a good little TV angle in the meantime.
Yeah, I think that, again, a singles match to me just adds a lot more importance to stuff. There's no risk of, well, he beat the other guy, I think that you do get the chance to establish someone to their fullest potential when you do have it in a singles match. So I am going
like
to.
your main matches as singles too.
I
Like, I'm not a
completely
big fan
agree.
of multi-man main events or anything like that.
Yeah. So.
How dare we dislike TLC at WrestleMania?
Oh, back off. Now, Rich, as I said, close her out. Let people know where they can find you before we close out this month's edition of OTTR Live. As a quick reminder, March 8th is our next episode. We'll run that all down after you hear from the rest of us. Plugging our shit.
Yeah, so the day before March 8th, so before watching the Elimination Chamber, get all of your fill.
All right,
so
guys.
many in my mouth
Feedback.
at the same time.
Only Mike can hear it, so that's a good little tidbit
good.
for you and I to know.
So watch the day before Elimination Chamber. Come down to the Alberta Ave Community Center. Watch MPW presents Evil Intentions, March 7th at 7 p.m. Alberta Ave Community Hall. Rugged Rich King. It hasn't been announced yet what I'm doing, but I have a feeling it's gonna have to do with old Mitch Clark's heavyweight championship, because I got a little bit of unfinished business there, and whether Lumberjack Luke or Larry or whatever he wants to call himself wants to get involved too. That's his own funeral. But yeah, you can find me on all the social media realms, essentially. On Facebook, just follow my wrestling page, Rich King Wrestling. On Instagram, you can find me RK_wrestling. Twitter, I don't really do too much, but you can find me at RS_Hill. HILL.
For a guy who's talking about funerals, all I gotta say is EI, uh-oh, and the EI stands for evil intentions.
That's Evil Intentions.
All of that was bad.
I just explained that, but thank you.
I didn't hear you. It's really loud in here.
Now, Parrish, you're back in the wrestling ring. Where can people find you? Where can people keep up online?
Just follow me at Chris.Parrish on Instagram and at Chris Parrish on the Twitter. And we all know me. I got a very personable account on Facebook. I'll accept anything, unless you're one of those weird-ass chicks that have one of those weird-ass handles.
It's funny, Andre just showed up just as you said that.
With that note, we got to wrap it up.
I gotta actually really quickly say too, follow my Instagram and Facebook, because I have a couple spot shows coming around Alberta coming up. I'm not 100% sure what ones I'm on yet, so stay plugged for all the social media if you want to see more Rich King, baby.
All the stories are fake.
100%, folks. And I know I speak for Parrish and Rich King, as well as Mike the Ref, who will close out the show, but he likes to do things quickly. I'm going to close things out for all of us here at the WCSN, because the Win Column Sports Network is your source for previews, reviews, breaking news, and interviews from the Canadian pro wrestling scene. I know I speak for myself when I say I have a ton of great interviews coming up, none least of all, Two Scoops, KC Spinelli, appearing on the podcast this Wednesday. Do not miss out on that one. That one was an absolute blast to do. And huge thanks to Michael Richard Blaze for helping me out on getting that one organized. But between myself, WrestleSode, Monday Night Shaw, the Okanagan Wrestling Review, these gentlemen here themselves, there is a ton of great pro wrestling here in the Great White North. Don't miss out on any of it. And follow the WCSN on pretty well any social media channel or your podcast provider of choice. Mike, thank you for producing the show. Chris, Rugged Rich King, thank you for appearing on the show. As always, as mentioned, March 8th, Elimination Chamber taking place at Beercade YEG, as every WWE pay-per-view does. It has been a great game. It has been a great afternoon here at Beercade YEG. Mike, I'll let you close it out, but thank you from all of us here at the Win Column Sports Network.
And a shout out to Armin Tanzarian, who just showed up in the chat room.
Better late than never.
And he's asking him to slam those beers. So
Armin Tanzarian's probably one of my favorite people on Facebook for wrestling. So
fair enough. So just a reminder that our next show is actually going to be Sunday, March 8th with the Elimination Chamber over the Top Rope Live. And we are going to have our details about the new prediction contest that's going to be coming up. I got some new ideas here as well that the main crew doesn't know about, but we'll get to that. And we might actually have the title
of my sex life.
Are we going to have the title here, Spencer?
Yes, we will. The Win Column Sports Network, the WCSN Elite Canadian Championship, making its debut March 8th at Elimination Chamber. Sorry, lots of dates here, folks. However, only officially launching at WrestleMania. However, as with anything
we'll get
that
to
we
details of that.
well, yeah, but as with anything here on the WCSN, make sure you stay tuned and make sure you subscribe. Make sure you don't miss out on anything that we've got going on here, because not only will you find out the best in Canadian pro wrestling, but you'll find some of the most entertaining content in Canadian pro wrestling. I know I speak for Parrish and Rugged Rich himself when I say that. Again, this has been OTTR Live for Parrish and Rugged Rich himself. I'm Spencer Love. Thank you for tuning in. It's always appreciated.